I thought the theme was really interesting, particularly for organisations like mine after the financial crisis. Trust, how you build trust, how your leaders are vulnerable and build trust is critical, I think, to success.
I think it's a couple of things. It's an opportunity to catch up with a lot of people. It's always nice to get the network, but I think above and beyond that, there's always this thing around what's the latest thinking. And the thing I like about the Changeboard event is that it's quite philosophical. So there's always a combination of kind of cultural observations as well as a lot of the kind of latest business and HR thinking. So I quite like that. So that's why I came along.
So I've known Changeboard for quite a while. I came to one or two of the conferences when they first started about 4 or 5 years ago. Really enjoyed those. Always found a very interesting group of people who come along to them. Very stimulating and different group of speakers as well. So figured I'd come along for a bit more.
It was just the general interest of the day. It's my first event here. I've heard a lot about it. I know Porter and the guys at Changeboard quite well. And it was just the general topic of how you instill trust, some of the AI, some of the workforce analytics, and how maybe us as an HR function need to start thinking slightly differently and future focused.
I've come along previously to conferences and I always find them really stimulating, give me lots of thoughts and ideas for my day job, but also just help me understand how the wider world is changing and some of the thinking that's going on out there. So it's always a great way to stimulate new ideas, meet new people, a great way to network.
Came along today for a chance to step away from the business, that whole slow down to go faster mentality, to see some inspiring speakers, connect with some great people and kind of learn a bit more, and that's not actually physically related to what I'm doing on an everyday basis, to really get that thinking time.
This is the second time that I've been to Changeboard conference. The reason why I came along is because I love the variety of speakers that they bring here. So typically they're not HR professionals and I prefer to learn from people outside of my industry. It's not to say that I can't learn from people in my industry, but there's always some really interesting parallels that I can draw from others outside of the world that I inhabit.
I very rarely get the chance to etch out some time in my schedule to be able to think about what's going on in our industry, and I've been to the last 3, so I feel like it's a very special day in my kind of calendar of events. I really wanted to learn a little bit more about kind of what's going on and what the kind of temperature is, especially around some of our political and changes that are going on in our world right now and how that's affecting people. I thought the theme of trust was really, really relevant, and especially for our organisation at the moment as well. We're going through from transformation. I think that's really important to be able to get some perspective and to hear from some of our colleagues and people in the industry to be able to kind of help understand what's going on.
So the reason I came was because I've come to every other of these conferences and I wouldn't miss it for the world. Of any of the personal development events that I come to, this is the one that has the most impact for me personally. It's just so inspiring, an amazing array of talent on stage who bring up so many different viewpoints and challenging thoughts and provocations that you can immediately start to apply to your personal as well as your work life. So it's incredibly, incredibly powerful and engaging, and I always go away feeling so energized and positive with a spring in my step.
I like to be made to laugh, so I think the sports panel was fantastic. Really funny, quite moving in places. That one really got me.
I think there's been a couple of different highlights actually. Obviously seeing my CEO at the beginning of the day, she's very natural and she's very authentic, and having so many people come up to me during the morning and sort of say, oh, you work for Carolyn, how is that, do you enjoy it? And it's just great to have so many people who are inspired by Carolyn, which is great. I think the other one was probably that some of it was quite a good laugh. Holmes was really funny, and there are a couple of other people who didn't take things too seriously. It's kind of a combination of being observant and new and different at the same time as being not taking yourself too seriously, which is kind of the right combination for me.
I think actually just the gathering of people. There have been some phenomenal speakers today, some great insights. I think a whole sort of flurry of ideas that is taking a little while to settle down in my head. Really definitely got my brain buzzing, but actually it's just been the people who've been here. People I've met before and maybe haven't seen for a while, people I know very well and see regularly, and then a whole bunch of new people I haven't met before, but definitely people who think about leadership, talent, HR on an ongoing basis, and who like to approach it a little bit differently. So just the conversations in between the sessions have been quite thought-provoking, fun, interesting and informative.
I think the bit for me, I'm huge into my sports. So just to have somebody like Clive Woodward, you've got Catherine and those individuals that just shared some of their experiences about what they did. But I think the key thing is how that actually translates into business.
So I think the best thing about the conference for me has been the energy in the room, the kind of questions that were flowing, very engaged and very insightful really, I thought.
I think probably the sports people on the panel, I'm quite a sort of sporty person. I'm really fascinated to hear how they build trust in what they do and how that can be translated back into the workplace. So lots of ideas there that I can sort of take away and think about in my own team.
I think my favourite part of the day is, to be fair, the whole networking opportunity for me. The speakers were fantastic and inspirational, but actually that chance to network, that chance to meet people you haven't met before, for me is really powerful.
My favourite speaker was Alex, and what I really enjoyed about Alex's presentation was, well, A, it was a very creative presentation, which was great and engaging, but B, she drew some really interesting parallels. She didn't spoon feed us. She shared some stories, some examples that meant that you had to kind of work and think it through and work out how would I apply that in my world of work. But I do also believe very strongly in the power of storytelling and the way that the ownership of storytelling has shifted massively in the last few years. So I think she did a great job of helping bring that to life for us.
The best thing about Future Talent 2017 has been the sheer positivity of the energy in the room. It feels intimate, it feels engaging, such positive energy, people wanting to be here, people engaging, people contributing. That is making such a fabulous energy in the room.
It's hard to pinpoint what was like the one thing that stood out for me in terms of the speaker series. I'm always really interested in different industries' perspectives. I think hearing from some of our sports panel, as now I'm referring to them, was always really interesting. The parodies between those two worlds and the things that we can draw from those experiences I think are very important, especially around the position of trust. I think our organisation, as I say, is currently going through huge transformation, and getting inspiration is really important from anywhere, but that really resonated with me at the moment, so it was really interesting.
Oh gosh, that's a really tough one. I mean, they are such an incredible group. Alain de Botton never fails to stimulate and entertain. I thought Catherine Granger was really, really good, talking about trust in a different way, and really thought-provoking. I also really enjoyed Carolyn McCall I thought was fantastic. I think because I'd gone into an organisation where so much of what she said resonated, and actually she made it sound so simple. So it was getting back to some of the basics around what's important that was a real refreshing reminder.
I think these events always are thought-provoking, in the real sense of the word, in that they provoke you to think differently or see something differently. I always learn something. So I think if you're someone who wants to learn, come along and be provoked.
Yeah, I say come. Why not? Why not? I think it's an amazing venue, amazing speakers, and an opportunity to catch up with people that you've been working with or to meet new people. So why not?
Clear out time in your diary well in advance, make sure you come. It really is a very, very good event. I haven't been for a couple of years and I've forgotten just how good it was. So it's really refreshing to come and meet just a different group of people and hear some very, very different perspectives.
Absolutely. No, it's one of those where I think that the whole suite of presenters you had were fantastic. The content was really good. The pace was fantastic. And you get a free glass of wine at the end. So happy days.
I think it's a brilliant event. You'll hear some great speakers, you'll meet some great people in terms of delegates, really diverse audience, so you get lots of opportunity to meet people who, perhaps you've not met before, might give you new ideas, things you can think about for your own job and how you can get better at what you do.
I'd say to them, have an open mind, come along, spend some time listening to the speakers, look at the speaker lineup and just use the chance to engage, because I think it's so powerful.
Well, certainly now that I've seen what next year's theme is, I would say without hesitation you must come. There's always some really intellectually stimulating speakers, great networking, and a good bit of fun at the same time. So without hesitation, I would suggest that people come along.
Definitely, don't hesitate. I think it's really important. Just being able to get the space and the time to hear different perspectives and investigate and connect with different people from our own world, but in the HR community as well, was really, really important and really valuable. So yeah, come along.